How is your day 2? Yeah. Okay, I want to hear that again. How is your day 2? Woo! All right, it just keeps getting better. Thank you so much for being with us here today. I'm Megan. You might have met me yesterday. I am a longtime friend and fan of iGEM and the newest board member. Now, I've been involved with iGEM for a very long time, in some ways since the beginning, but I did not ever get to be on an iGEM team. However, back in high school, I got to be a member of a team of a competition that in some ways helped inspire iGEM, the first robotics competition. We were so excited about the opportunity to come together, bring our ideas, and meet our fellow competition participants. But we would not have got to our equivalent of the Jamboree if not for our advisor. I remember begging our advisor, along with other members of the team, to please work with us over the course of the year. That was my physics professor at the time. So all of you on iGEM teams, you know that even though you have brilliant ideas, we all need help, we need some advice, and we need some wisdom. So I am very excited today to welcome to the stage some of the longest-term advisors to iGEM teams. Please give them a huge round of applause. Welcome them to the stage. To be here with you. So I know that I could not do as good of a job introducing these folks as they could do introducing themselves. So please, why don't we go down the line here? I would love to hear, what is your day job? How many years have you been working with teams? And which teams did you work with? And we'll start down here.
So I'm Janet Standevan. My day job is the program director for the Frugal Science Academy at Georgia Tech. I worked with Lambert iGEM for 11 years. I brought iGEM to the Lambert High School at the time. And I am so thrilled to be here.
Awesome.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Yeah, my name is Ming Qing. I'm bioinformatics professor from Zhejiang University, China. So I have been the advisor or the instructor for many years, since when? 2010, so almost 15 years. So for the team of my university, ZJU China. And from last 2 years, I'm also be the coach PI for another team named iZJU China.
Wonderful. You can't stop at just one team, right?
Yeah, okay. Good.
Hi. So my name is Jan Kalinowski. I'm a professor at Bielefeld University. And if you know something about Bielefeld, please look it up in Wikipedia. Bielefeld Conspiracy is the title. And so I'm a biotechnology professor, and I run a core facility with omics technologies there. And I'm iGEM-wise as old as Ming. So I run teams since 2010, and for this occasion, I have a 2010 team shirt, and it still fits me.
Great.
Amazing.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elena Rosca. I am a lecturer at Shesi University in Ghana. And I've been advising Shesi Ghana team since 2017. So this is actually our 5th year only. We had a little bit of hiatus in between. So
wow, look at the experience on this stage. Actually, I would love to hear from the audience here. I know we have a few advisors in the audience. Actually, why don't we just, I'm going to count up, and if you have advised a team for that many years, can you please clap with me? So how about 1 year? How about 2 years? How about 3? Come on, keep clapping. 4, your advisors. 5, oh, look at those claps. 6, 7, 8, 9,
Whoa.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There we go, 15
Sorry.
years. And how many of you are so grateful for all of the time that they have given to iGEM teams? Please give them a big round of applause. Thank you. Okay, so I want to hear a little bit about each of your stories of how you got involved with iGEM and really what keeps you in the game. Now, I know that you could probably each speak for 45 minutes at least about your iGEM experiences, but give me some highlights of your time. Why don't we start here, Ellen?
Sure. So I'm just going to reminisce a little bit to my PhD years, when I was doing my PhD at Arizona State University. And Drew Andy came and gave a talk. And I was just totally blown away, and I really wanted to become part of the iGEM, but it was a bit too late, and so I needed to finish up my PhD. So continued on that route, taught for quite a while, had my own labs, and then, as life has it, I moved to Ghana, and I've always kind of kept an eye on it. But then one day, one possible interested synthetic biologist enthusiasm came and donated $20,000. So then we can pay for the registrations and be able to come in as a first team. So that's how we got started. And that year was not only that we just received the money, but we also had no lab, we had no place to do any research. Our campus is quite far away from town, so we did all of this makeshift in town and borrowed lab from a big established university at the same time. So it was quite a very special start for this journey.
And some real catalytic moments across the
Yes,
way.
absolutely.
That's wonderful. Aaron, why don't you share a little bit about
Yeah, so there are so many great moments all these years, but there is one thing which was really striking for me. So it was 2014 when there were regionals, and we were the European champion. And when we traveled to Boston, to MIT at that time, so we had one hand on the brake. And we were in the competition, we were at the end runner-up, but when we entered the stage in the Kresge Auditorium, we served a wave of sympathy, and the whole auditorium was trampling with their feet. They are crying, Bielefeld, Bielefeld, and this was my star moment in my life, and really absolutely amazing.
star moment in your life, right? iGEM gets you in the heart.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I have the same feeling. Yes, almost the same year we start. So it's quite a journey. Back 2009, that time I'm from our university working in Tianjin University. And she came to our university and discussed with the director of biological experimental center, and at the same time, the student also aware of iGEM. So they come to my lab, and we explore the possibility of participation. And anyway, we agree to start the first team that time, but without any support from university because it's totally new. But anyway, we eventually figure out the topic of our team since the leader of the team was in my course, bioinformatics. So they are keen on working on software. So that time they are software check. Yep. So finally they developed a tool named Bach. So it's kind of a gene composer. So to tune the codon BIOS and predict translation. So finally, very successfully, we award the gold medal. So it's encouraging. And then the second year, 2011, so once again, the leader continues her job. and form a new team. And at that time, there's a regional champion. So luckily, we won Asian regional championship, and then moved to Boston for the Grand Jamboree, and they were the second runner-up. So that's really cool. And for almost 15 years, yes, I continuously act as an PI or instructor. And every year you will see a new team, new members, new ideas, and even new emotions.
Yeah.
But continuously, I can see the most important element of the iGEM, it's innovation, passion, and responsibilities. All of these drive me and my team together, and also, yes, bring us and as a collective growth together.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's so wonderful. I mean, there's so much in there, right? It's like emotion, innovation, the people and the passion, and the way you get, your first little taste of success and excitement and support that keeps sustaining you. Janet, will you share a little bit about your story?
Sure. So in 2012, I was in my master's program, and I had to do a lab experience, and I got matched up with a fellowship at Georgia Tech. And the professor happened to be an iGEM advisor at the time. And he said, you should come to the meeting. You might find this interesting. And oh, by the way, iGEM also has a high school competition, because I was teaching high school at the time. By the way, I still maintain I am just a high school teacher. So I'm up here with people that have so many years of experience. And I had never poured a Petri dish until 2012. I knew nothing, like nothing. And so I said, that sounds great. And I came back to my high school, and I went to my department chair at the time, who was actually here judging. She was a long-term advisor of Lambert with me, Brittany Crantrell. I'm going to shout her out. She's probably in the judging rooms right now. But anyway, and I said, I have this crazy idea. I'd like to bring this club to the high school. And of course, I talk about genetic engineering and how expensive it is. And I saw her eyes going, and then she's like, sure, let's try. And that was it. That was the start of it. We had no thermocycler. We had no equipment. I knew nothing, and we just kept doing it and failing together. And now generations, literally generations of students have gone through our program and are doing amazing things.
Amazing, amazing. And I think that's a lot of the stories that we hear. It's like, sure, let's try. Let's try it out. That same spirit goes all the way. So you've already shared some of your favorite moments, but I'm sure there's a few more.
I would say another favorite moment was when it all started. So in 2010, a student group approached me and say, do you know about iGEM? I say, yes. And they say, would you support us? It's our dream to compete in iGEM. And this was our first year, and we learned a lot. And fortunately, we could hire 5 of these people as PhD students. And this started kind of an iGEM team incubator at our site, which means that we could hire former iGEM members, and they support the teams, and we had ample space for them. We had a dedicated lab and dedicated office area for them, and so this made up to or allowed us to continue it.
Yeah, it's so interesting to see. I mean, you've all had very different experiences in different regions and with different types of teams, from high school to overgraduate and graduate. I'd love to hear a little bit more about these stories of how do you think about passing on those best practices, because teams are always changing, and like we said, there's these parts repositories that we give to, but it's the people that propagate and promulgate many of these ideas. What does that look like across some of your teams? Any of you? Janet?
Sure. So we now have a vertical pipeline that basically goes from our elementary school to our middle school to our high school. So we began by reaching out to the community, didn't get much response, and we said, okay, we're just going to educate people about synthetic biology. And so we started running summer camps, and that got people enthused about the biotech pathway. So iGEM at our school started as a club. In 2017, it became a class. It's a research class. And then as a research class, we had so many people wanting to be part of it, we had to expand. So then we started basically our JV, in terms of JV and varsity, we started our JV biology competition team, which is seminar. And so I'm no longer the PI for Lambert. I just help them out from time to time. The new PI had Kate Scherer, who is here with the team. She had 88 high school students this year trying out for next year's iGEM team. 88 high schoolers in one single high school. I mean, the power, that's the thing, is the power of the future in high school, in synthetic biology. And I think a lot of times, I've heard many times over the years that high school, you know, what can high schoolers really do? They're just kind of playing at biology. But high school is a place where it needs to start, and even middle school. I mean, we should be looking at synthetic biology like we teach computers. That's the inspiration.
Well, let's keep on this topic of people. Because again, iGEM is so much about the people who are here, who inspire us, who become friends. You know, our alumni go on to do so many amazing things. I wonder if you could maybe share a few examples of things that you've seen with your alumni. Elena, I know
Sure.
you have a good example.
So I have a great example, and she's actually sitting down there in the audience. So one of our students, Rosamond, who started, I think during COVID time, so we were remote at that time. And the other thing that it's also very hard for me to really get students excited about it is two things. One, we do not have a synthetic biology program, nor do we have a biology program. We're really a university that teaches business administration, engineering, and computer science. So all the teams, all the students that are coming, they have to come and go through a really crash course of molecular biology and synthetic biology, you know, for about a month. And so it's really hard to motivate or get students excited about, oh yeah, sure, come, join the team. 8 hours a day, you're just going to be doing molecular biology. And then remote was really difficult as well because they've never been, you know, on such of incredible opportunity and meetings to get to know people. And then the following year, we participated in person, so she was still a team member at that point. Then the following year, she became an ambassador, she became an instructor for the team. And then last year, we actually walked in together to the judging room being a judge. And I remember that was just one of my special and proudest moments to walk in with her and see her become a judge and becoming such a, you know, incredible contributor to this community. It's really
it's been
great.
amazing to see how many people come back again and again. And sometimes, you know, they'll go off and they'll do great things for 3 years, and then they'll be like, you know what, I really miss iGEM, and they'll come back. I've seen a few folks return after many years. Do you guys have any other stories you'd like to share about alumni? Maybe you want to go first, and then Ming?
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So my heroes probably, it was implicit, is a team of 2010. And one of them, Timo Wolf, is still here. He's working now for Bayer company. And so my job description is to take bright young people and make them good taxpayers. So this is a very good example, but there are many of them. A recent hero of mine is Svenja. Svenja Finke, she is now a postdoc in the Church Lab at Harvard, and she was instrumental also in iGEM to work on the dual-use problematic and to implement this in iGEM. And my fellow iGEM students, they have also worked for the HQ, and so they are a part of iGEM.
That's wonderful. I wonder, one of these things with teams is it's always this push and pull, right? Teams have great ideas, and you're there to try and figure out how to support them, but also not get in their way. How do you balance that in practice? And what does that look like over the years?
So I think one of my favorite moments is in 2022. My team was an incredible group of kids, as they always are, and they came to me early in January and said, "We really want to work with microRNAs." And I looked at them and I said, "MicroRNAs? Yeah, 22 base pairs or so." I'm like, "We're in a high school lab. You realize that RNA degrades and you guys contaminate everything." And in the meantime, I have freshmen who come through and eat like lunch on the. You can't work with microRNAs. And they're like, "No, we really want to do this." And I said, "Okay, prove it." And so then they kept coming back and saying, "Well, we're going to use this thing called rolling circle amplification." And I was like, "Okay, cool, but how is that going to work? You need all of this and whatever." I swear to God, it was a revenge. Because I kept telling them, you realize this is really hard, and you're going big. This is a huge one. You're either going to do really well, or you're not going to medal. And they're like, "We're going to go hard." And they won. They won the whole thing. And a high school team managed to detect microRNAs in serum at 20 femtomolar. Like, holy crap, who are these kids?
Yeah. Well, one of the things I've learned is if you want to motivate an iGEM student, tell them it's really hard. Ming, I didn't give you the chance to share your alumni story. I want to make sure you have the chance there too.
Yeah. So over the years, I'm really proud of my team, and they are doing great work. And I can name a few of them. For instance, the team 2013, so more than 10 years ago, and his name is Cao Yunlong. Now he is the full professor at Beijing University and a leading scientist in Changping National Laboratory. So really excellent. And he was awarded one of the 35 innovative talent under 35. So that's really rare. And the second example is team member 2014, Liu Hanqing. Yes, Liu Hanqing. He received a junior fellowship at Harvard University last year. So really great.
So actually, one of the things that we always often end up highlighting is the way iGEM experiences shape teams' trajectories, but often don't hear as much about how it's shaped advisors' trajectories. So I'm curious, how has your iGEM experiences changed how you approach the rest of your work?
So I think I have a great story for that. Because my career was all focused on cancer detections and cancer therapies and all different aspects of cancer therapies, from my PhD all the way to my journey in UK at University of Hull, where I was doing immunocancer therapies. And then I moved all of a sudden to Ghana, and we had no labs, no way I could continue my research with eukaryotic cells and immune cells, and so we started this iGEM team and journey, and I was always fascinated by it. And as I mentioned before, so that was my pivot. I said, "Oh, great! Now we're going to reinvent my research interest and my research direction to do synthetic biology." And so today, in my lab, we do a lot of different research and works in synthetic biology, and also how to, this was really inspired a lot by the iGEM spirit and community, and in collaboration with people that I've met here, that we started to do a lot of program and research in how to democratize science and how to bring and start opportunities for people who don't have the resources that we have in the West, and how we can continue that work on the continent. So it's really, really, really rewarding, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's what we always say, right? iGEM is not easy, but it's worth it. And I wonder if maybe some of the rest of you have already hinted at some of these challenges, from just not even having any infrastructure, to there not being a program, to not knowing how to start at the beginning, having no practical support. What have been some of the main challenges that you've encountered over the years? Resourcing is always, a difficult challenge. Could you share any of the things that you've encountered? Jörn, do you want to start here?
Yeah, so since we had the, what I call this iGEM team incubator, we had no problems whatsoever in having one team, I would say, educated every year. The challenge was always to raise the money. However, they were very good in getting sponsorships, and the rest comes from, I would say, some PIs, but our university, in a way, they were not interested, or they told us, we have a RoboCup team and these teams, and so we can't give you any money. So at the end, it is still a PI initiative whether the teams can proceed in the competition.
Yeah. One of the other things I've seen is when it comes to needing support and getting through challenges, how much PIs and advisors have helped support each other over time. So I'm wondering, you've been here now for 15 years or 5 years. How many years now, Jen?
11.
11. I'm curious if you can share a little bit about the friendships that you've formed with other advisors. Where did you have experiences sort of learning tips and tricks from other PIs, and who's helped support you over time? Yeah,
so there are some funny stories. So for example, the colleague here beside me, he graduated in Bielefeld, but I think we didn't had a word at that time. Yeah. And we met in iGEM again, and become friends, and you invited me to your university, and so it's, and there is a lot of such stories. It all started in 2010. There was a teachers meeting in Carmona in Spain, and there is another PI here, Rami Lale, and we played football under a light at midnight on the marketplace of Carmona, and so it was really fun, and obviously also all the iGEM team members, they have now their absolutely worldwide networks, and this is a huge benefit too.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things you realize in coming here is that, I always say the kids, but it's really young adults. But kids grow up, right? And just like you said, there's folks who come back, and the friendships promulgate farther than anything else. So we've already highlighted a few things that, for those of you who are maybe new iGEM team members, you may not even be aware of when it comes to 20 years of experiments in iGEM, right? You mentioned regionals, you've mentioned other types of things that happened over the years, right? This is, we used to be at MIT, good old MIT, that we mentioned before. I wonder if you could reflect a little bit, in the time you've been involved, what have you seen change? And what do you see as lying ahead in the future? We had a whole session yesterday thinking about 2050, but at least 2033. What does the 30th Jamboree hold? So reflections on the past, changes, and what lies ahead. Anybody? All right, we'll start with Janet, and then we'll come down the line.
So I think it was, in 2013, they were going to get rid of the high school division. because running high school is actually really expensive for iGEM, and it's not their main focus. And there was another PI and I who went to Randy and some of the other leadership and begged them and said, please don't get rid of high school. And they're like, well, you know, it's expensive and there's not a lot of good science. We don't have anybody to do the work. And Jude and I, who is from TAS Taipei, whose name is all over the golden brick out there, came together and we volunteered that year and we basically rewrote all of the structure for the high school competition. And that's knowing that it was just a trial in 2014. And we joined the giant jamboree, and I remember being there, and Taipei, TAS Taipei won that year. And their team had performed immensely better, or I shouldn't say that, had done so well that it was very competitive to a lot of the collegiate teams. And I remember saying, please, you know, can we do this another year? They gave us another year. And then eventually, like, it became sustainable. And I mean, now there's, what, 160 high school teams? That's incredible. And for me, it's so validating because I have said all along, high school is a place where research can start and good research can happen. And it's high schoolers who have still this mindset of they can do anything. They're so dumb they don't know what they don't know. So they're willing to try. And I think, you know, when people are committed and they're paying a lot of money at a university, it's so high stakes. And so they have to publish a paper, get tenure, you're funneled into this projection, and high schoolers are open. And I think that openness leads to amazing ideas. And do they fail a lot? Absolutely. But sometimes those ideas become startups.
Yeah. How many high school teams are we going to have in 2033?
3,000.
Oh, look at that. I like that prediction. Okay. A few more ideas. What's changed over the years, and what do you see lying ahead?
Yeah, my opinion is yes, really change a lot from simply computation nowadays to synthetic biology platform, which can help or breed future biotechnology leaders. So I'm sure, yes, in future, even empowered with AI, and this iGEM will continuously be the fortune of the synthetic, and which will influence our world or our life. So I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome. I love it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so iGEM simply also follows the mega trends of our society. So in 2010, there were no social networks, at least not the ones that you use today. And this inspired us all to work more on selling also our science, which is not a bad word, it's science communication. And I think iGEM will grow more and more into a network. There's not a single entity, there's a network of everyone teaching everyone. And also, as Ming said, biology and also synthetic biology is becoming data science, at least in large part. And therefore, computation, AI, all these other megatrends we experience in our society will play a role. But iGEM will stay as a trademark, but it will influence, it will interact closer with all our societies.
I love it.
And I was going to add one more that I think, and I hope, that by 2030 we will have more teams from Africa. In 2017, when we participated, we were the first and the only team for West Africa. Last year, we had 5 teams from Africa. Unfortunately, this year, I think we only have back to 2 or 3. And I think one of the biggest problem is resources and making it happen, and what sort of support can we put in place to see more growth on the African continent, because it is a big endeavor. But the other thing that's also very interesting to keep in mind, that perhaps as we are trying to find these resources, to think about the impact that getting a team here means. So again, I'm going to use my university's case. Our university has been extremely supportive, but we started in 2017 with absolutely nothing, and we have a bioengineering lab currently, and hopefully in January we'll have a full-blown approved biological engineering program at the university as an undergraduate program. And it all is because of iGEM.
All right, so how many teams are we going to have on the African continent in 2033?
100?
100. Okay, we've got some goals here. So we're wrapping up our time here, and I'm a little bit cautious about asking this last question, because it's like asking a PhD student when they're going to defend. But really, when are you retiring?
I hope never.
Okay, never. You got 100 teams to help figure out on the African continent. You know, are you retiring?
Yeah, I retire from my university job in 8 months only, but this is only one of my jobs, and I will probably never retire from iGEM too.
That's right, that's right. I want to hear it.
Yeah, I have been deeply involved in the past 15 years. So hopefully, we'll continue to contribute to another 15 years.
Love it.
So to witness the more great success of iGEM and the alumni.
Yeah, iGEM won't give you up either. Janet.
And so my husband is already retired. And so he asks me once in a while, and I'm like, honey, I'm going to be walking across that stage. I'm going to be going to iGEM with my wheelie walker. I am not retiring.
That's awesome. Well, I hope to see a whole team with their wheelie walkers out here. Please give a huge round of applause for these amazing people and so many more that are in the audience here today supporting you. Make sure you spend some time today thanking your advisors and mentors for all that they do. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.